Strategy formulation at a business level starts with the definition of vision, mission, and strategic objectives, in line with the general orientation of strategy that is linked to the creation of value. After this, decision makers perform an analysis of the external and internal environments, called strategy analysis. At the level of a strategic business unit, strategy analysis is made up of two main components: an external analysis and an internal one. The external analysis is used to evaluate the attractiveness and the average profitability of the business area examined by detecting environmental opportunities and threats influencing the definition of strategies and their performances. Let's now focus on internal strategy analysis, which is essential to complete the information that we obtain from an external environment assessment done with models like the 5 competitive forces and past analysis. Once we have defined the average industry attractiveness, we need to evaluate the ability of a single company operating in that industry to create and sustain a competitive advantage. The concept of competitive advantage from a strategic point of view is linked to the chance the company will obtain performances and profitability that are higher than those of competitors. This definition highlights the key role of performance in strategy analysis and closely links competitive advantage to the notion of margin, measured as price minus cost. The goal of internal analysis is that of detecting competitive differentials of cost and of value for our strategic business unit compared to competitors, also identifying the company's strengths and weaknesses. Competitive differentials are simply elements characterizing the performances of the company and influencing margin. Since margin is calculated as price minus cost, competitive differentials will, on the one hand, influence the ability of the company to work with lower cost, so increasing efficiency, and on the other hand, determine the chance to increase the output's added value, thus making the product and the service offered more attractive to the customer. Value differentials, also called attractiveness differentials, represent effectiveness drivers, and they have a positive effect on the price that the customer is willing to pay to get a given product or service. A combination of positive differentials of cost or value will determine the strength and the sources of competitive advantage for the company if compared to competitors, whereas negative differentials will represent disadvantages or a source of competitive disadvantage. Strategic competitive differentials are created by the possibility and ability of companies to make use of specific characteristics of the economic system, like, for example, the nonlinearity in the relations between economic variables, like economies of scale or the cost of capital, the inertia and the difficulties in reversing the dynamics of those economic variables, the inequality in accessing market outlets, specific resources, knowledge or information, and cost asymmetries, and finally, the so-called stretch, or variability in commitment, productivity, and creativity of people on the basis of their motivation. Companies can leverage these asymmetries and imbalances and disequilibria to outperform their rivals and create competitive advantage.